In this video, I will tell you the 3 scariest stories that happened to my friends. Before starting, subscribe. You won't regret it. After that night, I didn't sleep until morning. I sat on the floor in the middle of the living room, my back to the wall, my face to the window. I didn't want anything behind me again. The rain stopped around 4. The sky brightened. I approached the glass only when the sun touched the roofs of the neighboring houses. In daylight, everything looked familiar. Wet grass, the fence, trees still swaying from the remnants of wind. But 3 marks remained on the glass. I studied them for a long time. They didn't look like palm prints. Too narrow, too long. As if someone had drawn their fingers from top to bottom. Slowly, with pressure. The glass there was colder than the rest. I checked several times. With my hand. Yes, colder. I wiped the marks with a towel. An hour later, they reappeared. I can't explain it. I went into the kitchen, had coffee, came back, and there they were, the same 3 stripes. In the same place, as if the glass remembered them. I called my friend and told him everything. He paused and said, "It's condensation." I didn't argue. But condensation doesn't appear from the inside on the outside of glass on a cold, damp morning. And it doesn't leave 3 even stripes of the same thickness, exactly a centimeter apart. I measured. Exactly a centimeter. The next few days were ordinary. Sunny. Quiet. I almost convinced myself I'd been scared of my own reflection, that darkness and thunder had taken their toll. Almost. On the 4th night, I woke at 2. No reason. I just opened my eyes and lay in the dark, feeling that something in the room had changed. Not a sound. Just different from when I fell asleep. I didn't move for a long time. Then I slowly turned my head to the window. The sky was clear. Stars. A full moon. The yard was washed in soft, milky light. A silhouette stood by the fence, still. I clutched the sheet. I breathed slowly. I watched. It didn't move. 1 minute, 2, 3. Then I understood it wasn't looking at the house. It was looking straight at my window. At me. I don't know how it could see me through the darkness, but the feeling was exact. The way you know when someone stares at your back in a crowd. I stood up. The silhouette was gone. Not gone, just disappeared. Between one breath and the next. I went to the window. The yard was empty, grass untouched, fence intact. But there were 3 new streaks on the glass, fresh, shiny, from the inside. I didn't touch the glass that night. I stood in the center of the room until morning. I stopped checking the locks. Not because I wasn't afraid, but because I understood locks don't solve anything. What comes during a thunderstorm doesn't use doors. It stays inside and waits for the next lightning strike so you can see it. A week passed. I bought a flashlight and put it by my bed. I told myself it was in case the lights went out. But I held it every night. One evening, I scrolled through old photos. I stopped at one, a picture of the backyard from spring. Sunlight, green grass, the fence. And by the fence, a blurry dark spot. I didn't remember anyone standing there. I zoomed in. The spot had the shape of a silhouette. I checked the date, 3 months before the storm. So it was there before. Just in daylight. Just unnoticed. I put down my phone and stared at the ceiling. The scariest thing isn't that it's coming. It's that it's been here a long time, and you never looked in the right direction. I tried to remember the first night I felt watched. The first time the window seemed deeper than glass. Nothing came. Only the sense that the yard had always been aware of me. Patient and quiet. Learning my habits, waiting for the moment I would finally notice it, noticing back.
He was coming back late. The road was almost empty, just darkness, downpour, and the radio crackling with a dead noise. The storm had started suddenly. The wipers were barely coping. The navigator was rebooting for the third time when red taillights appeared ahead. He exhaled. So he wasn't alone. He kept his distance. The car ahead was driving full speed, cautiously almost as much as he was. Lightning cut through the sky. For a second, the entire highway turned white and he noticed that car had no license plate. He rode in the rain. Another flash. The headlights were in place, but the car itself looked blurry, as if fog had enveloped its middle contour. Thunder struck close. The lights in the cabin went out for a second. When he turned around, the headlights were completely closer. Too close. He slammed on the brakes, almost crashed. Lightning, there was no car ahead. Only two red lights. They hung in the air, at eye level. No body, no wheels, just light. And it started moving backwards, towards him. He stepped on the gas. The wheels skidded on the wet asphalt. In the mirror were red lights, but they weren't driving on the road. They were moving sideways, across the field, parallel, at the same speed. No sound, no tracks. Thunder. The engine died. The headlights went out. Complete darkness suddenly. The rain and the heart in his throat. Lightning. They were standing right in front of the windshield. Close, very close. For a split second, he saw the outline. Something tall, thin, with disproportionately long arms. No face, only two dim red lights. Where the eyes should have been. The darkness returned, silence. Then the engine started by itself. The headlights came on. The road was empty. The field was empty. Nothing. He drove off. He didn't stop. He didn't look in the mirror. When he got to the house, the rain had already stopped. He got out of the car, and then he stopped. The taillights of his car were glowing, bright red. The engine was off, but they were on, and they didn't go out. While he was standing next to it, he walked around the car. He looked in the rear window, in the dark interior, in the back seat. Something slowly turned its head. Two red lights, and this time they were in the middle.
I was told this by chance, by someone who claimed to have experienced it themselves, though I didn't believe it at first. If you hear 3 claps of thunder during a thunderstorm, don't look out the window. At the time, I thought it was just a strange urban legend, one of those warnings people pass along for the thrill of it. A story designed to make you pause, make your hair stand on end, and then be forgotten. I thought it was harmless, even amusing. I was alone that night. The thunderstorm began abruptly, as though the sky had suddenly grown tired of calm and decided to rage. One moment the night was quiet, ordinary, almost comforting, and the next, the wind tore through the trees, bending their limbs like they were fragile twigs in a violent tantrum. The clouds moved with an unnatural urgency, and the sky turned black. Not a hint of moonlight or stars to be seen. The first clap of thunder sounded. It was distant, almost polite. a low growl rolling across the horizon. The house shook slightly in response. I remember thinking how oddly close it felt for being so far away, as though it were testing the structure of the walls. The strength of the windows. Then came the second clap. Closer this time. Louder. Angrier. The glass in the windows rattled violently, clanging in protest. The walls reverberated, and the floor beneath my feet seemed to hum with the energy of it. I got up, my mind racing, and went to close the curtains. Something about the sudden darkness outside made me uneasy, though I told myself it was only the storm, only nature doing what it does. And then the third clap happened. The strongest one. The one that made the lights flicker and vanish entirely for a second. When they came back on, I was standing by the window. I don't know why. It wasn't a conscious decision. It was as if some invisible force had pushed me there, compelling me to face whatever lay outside. Lightning struck, for a brief moment. The yard was illuminated in a blinding white light, every droplet of rain visible, every leaf shimmering. And then I saw him, a dark figure, motionless, faceless, standing just beyond the fence. The kind of figure that seemed almost too still to be real, as though it had stepped out of the shadows themselves. The darkness returned. My heart raced. I tried to convince myself it was just a shadow, a trick of the storm, a mind straining to make sense of fear. But another flash of lightning shattered that illusion. He was closer. Now he was in the middle of the yard. The rain fell like silver needles around him, and still, I could see nothing between the flashes. Only the downpour and the shifting darkness. I stood frozen, torn between waiting for the next strike and wishing desperately that it wouldn't come. Lightning. For a split second, the room was filled with white light. And in that flash, I saw him again, not outside this time. Not just there in the yard. He was behind me, inside the living room. Darkness swallowed the light as quickly as it had come. I slowly turned around. Nothing. The room was empty, quiet except for the rain hammering against the roof and windows. I forced my gaze back to the glass. Another strike. This time, the reflection told a story my eyes refused to accept. I was standing closer to the window than I actually was. My hand rested against the cold glass, though I hadn't moved. The middle of the room was empty, except in the reflection. The reflection showed him standing there. Always him. The air seemed to thicken around me, the warmth of my own breath suddenly strange and intrusive in the icy atmosphere of the storm. Another flash of lightning revealed only him. No trace of me. Just a dark, featureless figure in the window, standing silently, waiting. By now, the storm was beginning to die down. The wind had lost some of its rage, the clouds were retreating into shadows, and the rain had slowed to a persistent drizzle. But I understood the rule too late. 3 strikes of thunder are not a warning, not a countdown, not a message meant to scare you into caution. 3 strikes are an invitation, and invitations of that kind are never refused.
Like it? Subscribe so you don't miss the next video coming soon.